Hi, this is Jeffrey Kurt Financial Group. Today is Monday, August 11, 2025, into the middle of August already. So we'll take a quick look backwards at last week and look forward as we usually do on Mondays. Good week for the stock market last week. Dow was up 1.33%, up 3.8 year to date to start this week. S&P up 2.4 last week, up 8.6 this for the year to date. Nasdaq led the way last week and leading the way this for the year, up 3.8% last week, 11% on the year. Russell up 2.3% last week and still down 0.5% for the year. But the small caps, the Russell stocks, have been acting a little better. Also last week and over the weekend, Bitcoin and the cryptocurrencies doing well. Bitcoin was back to about 120,000 and Ethereum was up around 15% last week alone. So good, overall week for the markets last week. Looking ahead, this week is going to be all about inflation. Tuesday, we get the Consumer Price Index, CPI, the inflation level at the consumer, and then PPI is on Thursday, Producer Price Index, inflation into the manufacturing sector, and then there is two of them on Friday. One's the Michigan Consumer Sentiment Report, and the other's retail sales. So light on a number of perhaps important data releases. But those CPI and PPI numbers are going to be closely watched because that will maybe give the Fed some room to cut the rates in September. And there's been more and more forecasts and expectations of a cut in September and then one more later in the year. I'm also seeing forecasts for a number of cuts next year. We've seen that before. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, but those things are out there for predictions for the Fed to cut rates. The inflation, if it's remains calm or doesn't get out of hand, that'll give the Fed some room to cut in September. And we'll see how those numbers come out Tuesday and Thursday. Also, there is some earnings this week, but we're winding down on the second quarter for the people that end their quarter on June 30th, and then we'll be looking at some of the retailers who usually do the July quarter as their second quarter. So we'll be back on Wednesday. Thank you for listening. Please like, subscribe, and share. Have a good day. Thank you again. Goodbye.